Hi everybody, you're listening to the Khandaan podcast by the upodcast team, a bi-weekly podcast revisiting the movies of Amir Khan, Salman Khan and Shah Rukh Khan.
Every show we pick a random year from 3 decades of collectively 300 films the Khans have done and let our listeners vote which movie we should talk about. So it's entirely up to you.
Pick a team, make a vote, take us down nostalgia lane, punish us, or make us reassess a movie we dismissed.
We love the Khans, most of us, sometimes. And we would love for you all to be part of our Khandaan, because when it comes to the Khans in Bollywood, nothing else really matters.
Yeah, hi guys, we're back. So this is kind of an odd one. We're recording a bit earlier and we're posting a bit later because we're all kind of going on holidays and we're not available, but we wanted to give you entertainment because I understand that the way the world is a garbage dumpster fire, you might need a little bit of a break and like some levity in your life. So I thought let's just go with the Khandaan podcast and do a new episode for you guys. So we don't have a guest, but I have my co-hosts with me, Amrita, Sujoy. Hi, guys.
Hello.
Yay! Hello.
So we're kind of doing things slightly differently this episode, right? It's Amrita. You want to kind of explain what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same format as what we've been doing for the past few episodes, but the difference is that instead of having a guest come on, we decided that we just come to a consensus and choose a film that we all wanted to watch. And the one that we did end up choosing, I think that it was basically the best decision that we could have made for these days and times, because it was just such a breath of fresh air. And Asim has been wanting to do this for a long time. So Asim, what movie did we choose?
Yeah, so this is the movie. When we did our first episode, we said which is the movie we want to most revisit, and I said Hain, Rahi Pyar ke. And I just felt like, hey, we don't talk enough about Amir Khan movies, and since I am the biggest Amir Khan fan, I wanted to push an Amir Khan movie on you guys. And like I said, I just feel, the last few weeks have been tough for everybody, especially if you're on Twitter or social media or news or, any aspect of life. And especially now, if you're on Indian Twitter, this week has been really rough, I feel. So we just wanted to have something that was light and breezy. And that's why we thought Hain Rahi Pyar ke would be a good idea. And Sujoy, you were quite excited for this one too, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, mostly to do we've spoken about this before when we were speaking about Jab Pyar Kisi Se Hota Hai, that our nostalgia hook is the soundtrack, and that's how we associate our movies with. And Hain Rahi Pyar has such a memorable nostalgic hook in my life. Like, I grew up listening to these songs, playing at Durga Puja pandals and auto rickshaws everywhere. It's part of my childhood. So I was really looking forward to rewatching this movie because I hadn't watched this movie in a very, very long time.
Yeah. So
yeah, same.
We not a guest, so no guest today this time, but we're just using our same format. So we'll get to Hain Rahi Pyar ke a bit later on, but we want to do a little bit of trailers and a bit of news and stuff like that, and also Sujoy saw Andhadun, which he'll be talking about, spoiler free. So that's good. So let's break down trailers we saw this week. I think the only one that really came out was Manikarnika. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is.
What is it, Asim?
So this has kind of been like a controversial project for a while for Kangana Ranaut, and I don't think she's had a release out for a while. I think the last one was Simran, and she's been really working on this Manikarnika for a while, and it's been in controversy because the director left and the actors left and Sonu Sood left, and I think I don't exactly know when it's coming out, this movie. Let me just IMDb it.
25 Jan
Oh, okay. So yeah, so still
It's coming out whenever Ritik's new movie is coming out. Basically.
is it? Is she bringing it on releasing it on the same weekend or something?
Yeah. So it's releasing the Republic Day weekend in January next year.
Wow! Applause! I have to applaud Kangana for that. Is a ballsy move because she's the only one calling the shots at this moment. So that is scorched earth, like they.
Yeah, like I bet Ritik is just wishing so hard that he had buttoned his pants and kept it that.
Yeah, I think generally Ritik is probably shitting his pants at the moment. Like I just tweeted this thought 30 minutes ago, and I think generally that's it. We're going to get to that a little bit in news later on. But Sujoy, what did you think of the Manikarnika teaser?
You said she hasn't been working, so we assume she's been physically preparing for this role, but this just looks like any other generic rehash or 21st century make of what we've seen, like, in Sword of Tipu Sultan or whatever. The graphics looks terrible. The action choreography looks terrible. Everybody's speaking in slow motion and there's blood everywhere. So nothing really excites me about this as of yet. I hope things get better and the movie turns out to be much better than what the trailer looks like. But yeah.
This is the story of the Jhansi ki Rani. That's right? Okay. Yeah. And she was a queen who fought against the British, or who?
Yeah.
Okay. Amrita, why is she's really important, right, in Indian history?
I mean, yes, because she's like one of the few militant queen figures that we have in Indian history. And she was one of the heroes of the First War of Independence, which is 1857. It's also known as the Sepoy Mutiny or the Indian Mutiny of 1857. And it's actually a really complex story. Like if you put together the British version and the Indian version and you kind of look at the truth which comes somewhere in between, it's actually a bloody, very complicated tale, and it's about politics rather than just like straight up it's not like a straight up like patriotism or nationalism story. The movie might be whatever it is, but the story itself is about it's about succession rights, and it's about the British playing politics. It's about this young girl basically that was married to a much older man. So there's this very strong gender politics in that story. And then what happened in Jhansi was that they basically killed a lot of British, not soldiers, but like British people who were like part of the British society that was like living nearby, and they had actually asked the queen for shelter from the soldiers and everything, and they actually massacred them. So it's a very complicated, grey, moral kind of story, and it ends with her dying on the battlefield fighting against the British. And basically, that's the bit that's sort of that we've chosen to sort of remember in our collective cultural memory, which is that, like Khoob Ladi Mardani wo to Jhansi wali Rani thi, which is like the opening lines of the chorus lines of a very famous poem in Hindi. And we all learned it in school.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they used to have it on Doordarshan as well, right, Sujoy?
Yeah. So I think kind of the childhood memory etched for this is through textbooks which are circulated across schools about the bravery and the patriotism of Lakshmi Bai, Rani of Jhansi, with her carrying the child on a horseback, swords and fighting British.
It's a very it's very Mother India kind of image, where you have this one woman, and she's always depicted in like this white sort of salwar kameez sort of a thing, and she's got the little child in front of her on this horse, and then she's like fighting personally in the middle of the battle. So it's a very emotional sort of thing. And then, of course, in the teaser, by the way, this is not the trailer, this is the teaser, and it's about 2 minutes long. And it ends with, her yelling Har Har Mahadev, which is, again, like a very loaded term in terms of like present day India,
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things happening around this movie, which sounds like a perfect dumpster fire. And in terms of the story, and I'm interested to see what slant they're giving to it, in terms of the actual history. And I'm interested to see how they're going to present this story, because Kangana has been sort of slowly moving rightward and wooing the right wing in the build up to this film coming out. And I don't know if that is some sort of like defensive posture where she's like, she saw what happened to Padmavat and she just wants to stop that happening to a film, or whether she's like quoting that kind of audience. Like, I don't know what is happening. So
yeah,
it's going to be pandering the right wing anyway. Like, oh, please,
I mean, the thing is, right wing is winning anyway, so I understand the chess move she's playing. Resistance is not going great. This is like the darker timeline at the moment, so I kind of get that. But what did you specifically think of the teaser? How did you like it? Does it get you excited? I don't even know, Amrita, where do you stand on Kangana as a performer?
I actually enjoy her in like a few things. Like I didn't really like Tanu Weds Manu, but that's because I thought her character in Tanu Weds Manu was horrendous. I didn't think that her performance was bad. Like, I think she's a very capable performer. I thought that way right from her first movie.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and she's worked on her diction and everything, because I remember when that first movie came out, like, it was really bad. Like, you could barely understand her Hindi. Like, her enunciation was shit when she started out. And she's really worked on it, and she's worked on her voice, and she's worked on herself, and it shows. Do I think she's like the second coming of feminism in India? No. Like, I don't believe in this Kangana Mata narrative that she likes to put out every once in a while. But I do enjoy the fact that she's giving a lot of men a really good time in Bollywood. Like, I really enjoy the fact that she's a shit stirrer and that she's unapologetic about it. Like, I do enjoy that about her. And the teaser itself, like, I hope this is like an unfinished version of the VFX that we saw, because it looked like shit. So,
yeah, I mean, I've heard this criticism on. We even heard it on the Thugs of Hindustan trailer, or that came out earlier. VFX is just the thing that gets finished the latest now, and we still have 3 months to go. I don't assume this movie has a big budget to spend a lot on VFX, but usually VFX really are only are done at the end when the movie releases. So I understand if you.
No, I understand that. But the thing is, like, if you're going to put a VFX heavy scene in a trailer, then maybe bump it up the queue and like do that first and make that a priority, because that is going to be the first impression. And especially in a visual medium, like if you're going to put out like something that is going to be VFX heavy and that is going to sell your movie, you need to push that up. Like you can't be like, like people will understand that we still have to work on it. Like people won't understand.
Yeah. But I also think they're just trying to also just create some positive buzz about this trailer, because about this movie, because I think even last week another news article, another actress had left the movie. So this is kind of second, and the director has distanced himself. So it's only been negative. So I feel maybe they just want to show something, and the base that it's playing to seems to enjoy it, I mean, maybe a lot of these have watched those, what was that other godmen that did those movies? Guru, Ram, Rahim. So, if you're playing...
is Insan.
That one, yeah.
I honestly, I feel like that's a little mean to Karan. Like,
I mean, you're speaking to those kind of, like nationalistic, patriotic, religious people. I just
I
kind
don't
of
think India is that patriotic enough to love Guru Ram Rahim.
Yeah. I mean, this guy was spinning around tanks, right? So, I mean, I don't think it looks that. Honestly, I'm quite positive about the teaser more than a lot of people. I feel she kind of. I think the sets look okay. I mean, it is kind of very reminiscent of SLB, but I guess they clearly don't have the budget that SLB did, Sanjay Leela Bhansali did on Padmavat and all that. So I think what they're trying to do looks kind of okay. And I mean, if these rumors are true that Kangana did most of the direction behind the scenes, I hope this movie does well for her, that she can kind of, transition maybe to more like just come out and direct movies, because that's kind of an intention of hers that she's been trying to do. And I just like, badass women swinging swords around. So I don't know.
The other thing that really brought home to me while I was watching this trailer is like how much SLB uses his action pieces, like he choreographs them as if it's a dance.
Yeah.
Because I was comparing like what like Kangana's been talking about how hard she's been working on her sword fighting skills and everything, and I don't doubt her. She's a very hardworking person. So and I was expecting the action to be amazing, and then I saw her do the action pieces, and I was like, I was just remembering how like Deepika did it in Bajirao, and it was poetry in motion, like the way he shot Deepika. Like, this scenes of Deepika practicing her sword, which basically looked like she's making love to that sword. It's like the imagery is very like reminiscent of lovemaking, and it leaves like a really big impact on you, like when you remember Deepika like with a sword in her hand and from that movie.
Yeah.
And in this movie, like you could really see the difference like direction makes and like perspective makes in filmmaking when you compare the two.
And also, just to remind people about special effects, remember the ostrich in Padmavat? That was the finished movie, right? Like, I'm just saying, like about bad special effects. But yeah, I mean, I know Kangana has no love for me, but I still kind of am looking forward to Manikarnika more than what is the Hrithik Roshan's movie called even? Super 30, Super 430, Super
30.
30 is okay. Yeah, because that has Hrithik Roshan in it, which is I don't really like him anymore that much. But it's also been directed by Vikas Bhal. Behel Bhal, I thought. Oh, Behel, like Bel Mujhe Maar, that kind of Bel.
Yeah.
Okay, Vikas Bel. And he actually directed, his biggest success was probably directing Kangana and Queen. And he was part of Fir Se Phantom, which has been disbanded since yesterday, the news was announced, right? I think people seem to be shocked by it, which I'm shocked that they're shocked. And also today, I think a piece came out in Huffington Post, India, about written by, I think, Ankur Pathak, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
He kind of spoke with the victim of... Vikas Bale assaulted a woman, one of the women that used to work at Phantom. The lady let the management and specifically Anurag Kashyap know that this horrible event had happened, and it's ongoing. He kept on harassing her. Within the office, she was forced to work with him on projects, even after she had told Anurag Kashyap that he had done something horrible to her. And only, 4 years later, now that they've kind of come to the conclusion that, maybe we can't work with Vikas Bale because he was also a co-owner of Phantom, so they couldn't fire him, which I don't really understand that logic. But Phantom is no more. Sujoy, man, how did you feel about that news?
I don't know. I guess Phantom as a production house has created some of the most notable movies that have come out of India over the last couple of years. But we still have the creative heads. Anurag Kashyap will still continue making movies. Vikramaditya Motwani will still continue making movies or making content in some way or the other. So I'm okay with that. I'm not really, it's not... it isn't as big a news as, say, tomorrow T-Series will be no more, or Yash Raj will be no more. If that makes sense. It's still not as big mainstream thing, because I think that Anurag and Vikram would still be making movies, and I will still get to see his contents, and I'm not that fussed.
Yeah.
I'm with you when you say you are not really shocked that Phantom is broken, because we saw it coming from a long time, when all of these allegations and all this news that was coming about Vikas Bal's past of sexual assault against women.
Yeah. Again, Amrita, I don't know if do you want to talk about this, or like...
Yeah, I mean, I'm just worried, like, what will happen to Sacred Games? Isn't like season 2 coming out? Like, how does that work? But yeah, you're right. Like, everybody knew that this was going to happen sooner or later, because... And also, like, Anurag has been out of it ever since Bombay Velvet, which is something that he made very clear in that piece by Ankur Pathak that you were talking about, where he says very openly, like, after Bombay Velvet flopped, he took to drinking, and he was basically in a drunken haze for, like, quite a while. And he sort of uses that as cover for not doing anything, which, it's classic. But also, like, yeah, I don't see that as a huge tragedy that First Day Phantom is gone, even though they made, like, some amazing cinema. And I'm pretty sure that Motwani and, Kashyap are going to make movies again. And they all seem to be very clear that they won't work with Bell anymore. So I don't know I'm interested to see what Hrithik is going to do. Because, Hrithik goes around with this, it's going to be blowback on him at some point. But then given the stories that are out there about his dad, like, what's he going to do? Like, if he says that he's not going to work with men who prey on women, and that's why he's not working with Vikas Bahl, sooner or later somebody is going to bring up that video with, what's her name? Tiska Chopra, and, like, talk about how Rakesh Roshan behaves on sets.
Right.
So I'm just really interested to see how, and then of course Hrithik is, like, dealing with Kangana as well. So I'm just really, like, Hrithik is basically up shit creek. Like, that's what it is.
Yeah. And the thing is with Hrithik also is he has no good projects to, if you're riding on a successful wave, you can kind of withstand some sort of ups and downs, but Hrithik has not had a hit in years now. So he is in deep shit. And I always, like, when the allegations came about him and Kangana was on the other end, Hrithik was never going to win this fight. This is just not, like, you need to be able to fight somebody on your own level, and Kangana would devour him. Like, there's no competition there.
I mean, like, it's just like, Kangana is just like she'll go to, like, whatever length,
Hey,
like, that's...
In a way, like, this might be controversial, but the third name is gonna add will make it okay, because you know where I stand. I feel Donald Trump, Kangana Ranaut, and Salman Khan are very similar personalities. They all have this kind of strong following, these beliefs that are unmovable, unshakable, and they go scorched earth, they do not care, and no consequence seems to touch them. And they all seem to have this same kind of approach, how they, very, like, straight talking, and people really believe that they are good hearted and all that kind of thing. And I don't know, I feel they all use the same playbook to a certain degree in how they deal with controversies and issues. But honestly, I feel everybody just got scot-free. Like, I don't think it'll have any bearing on anybody. Vikas Bahl, I mean, let's not also forget he made Queen, but he also made Shandar, which was terrible. So it's not like he's proven himself really as a director. And then when you have a movie that nobody's looking forward to and is going to have Manikarnika on the same day, so a lot of the kind of conservatives and all that will go watch that movie. And just biopics in general are not that appealing. Vikas Bail has these allegations. Hrithik has only his fan following now. So it looks like just a general losing proposition for me. Yeah.
It's anything that happens in Bollywood, like it has to happen. It's not enough for the women to come out and say like this happened, or like for you and me to believe her and say like, yeah, we believe her. What is important is that the people that work with those people have to say, no, I'm not going to work with this person anymore because this person is basically trash.
Yeah.
Like that needs to happen. And that can't happen as long as these people are not even willing to address the fact that these are accusations that are in the room. Like Salman or Shakti Kapoor, who basically somebody actually. Okay, first of all, somebody actually went to Shakti Kapoor with Tanushree Datta's claims and was like, Shakti Kapoor, what do you think about this?
What do you think, Shakti Kapoor?
Yeah. And Shakti Kapoor is like such a degenerate that I still remember like when I was a kid, like in the 90s, Stardust, which is basically a film magazine that depends on the goodwill of film stars, they basically published this entire expose. I still remember about like how he was basically sleeping around with extras, and he was like, they basically said that he was a gross, lechy, rapey kind of man.
Yeah.
And then there was that sting in the 2000s where, they had video of him being gross. And then in 2018, somebody actually went to him and was like, Sir, aap kya sochte hain about Tanushree Datta? And then he says, like, oh, I was only a child back then, so I don't remember. And I'm like, and like people like on Twitter and everything, like whatever, they were like, like they started doing those memes of like Shakti Kapoor saying, "Main to nanna sa, munna sa, bachcha hu." Like, they started making all those memes, and it was funny. But it was also like nobody in the industry called him out.
Yeah.
And Shraddha is like, and I'm not saying that Shraddha Kapoor should be asked about the sins of her father, but also like, this is like, like it's so ingrained into the practices of this industry and like the people that run it and the people who are in it. And the thing is like everybody is a social justice warrior until it's something that affects their friend, or their family member. Then suddenly it's like, oh, but I've known this person all my life. How do I say anything about them? How do I believe the other person? And I'm like, yeah, like that's the tough decision. It's never a tough decision when it's somebody that you don't care about. It's a tough decision when it's somebody that you do care about. Because that's when you stop and you tell them, bhai, aisa mat kar, So,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I also think we're just at the start of what's going on. Our favorite heroes, our favorite film directors, like inki to pole khuli nahi hai abhi, like we're not even there yet. Like the amount of dirt that is gonna come out, if it comes out, nobody will be safe. No man will come out of this unscathed. Like, and I'm not saying this as, oh, poor men, we're so scared. No, it needs to come out. Like, I'm sure, like, all of them treat women terribly, I'm just kind of waiting for this like kind of, it's picking up steam for sure, but we're stuck, like this week has been kind of like lower level people like magazine editors and stand-up comedians. We've not reached our heroes and directors yet, and producers, and all these kind of higher level. And if it comes out, it's gonna be a landslide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Let's laugh because we can't cry.
I was going to talk about Lavyatri.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Did you watch it?
No. She throws her head back and laughs. No, but in the middle of everything, like today morning, I started noticing that people were, I don't know, like people really hate Ayush Sharma, which I mean, I've seen a little bit of hate about Ayush for the past, however many months, but I didn't realize how much they hated him until today. I think they were all just sort of, like nursing their grudges until his movie had released, and then it all just sort of erupted. But they've been retweeting all his douchey tweets from like 2012, 2013, where he's like saying things like, Yamla Pagla Divana is shit. and they will retweet those tweets and then like tag like Sunny Deol. Like just starting shit for like no reason. Like he said like Jab Tak Hai Jaan had shit music and he didn't expect that from like A.R. Rahman, and they retweeted it and tagged like Shah Rukh and YRF. It's amazing. And like there's this whole meme of him, I don't know, I think it's maybe from his wedding, because he's wearing a bow tie and everybody else is like super casual. And it's like Ayush Sharma with all his fans, and it's basically him with like Shah Rukh and Aamir and Akshay Kumar and stuff. And then they're just like, I don't know what it is. And then, like a few people went and saw Love Yatri, which is, by the way, it's been renamed it used to be called Love Ratri, but now it's called Love Yatri because I guess people got offended that it's called Love Ratri because it's a takeoff on Navratri. So, I don't know. But like one critic, I can't remember who it was, but they were like, we wish this was an album instead of a movie. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I haven't watched the film, but I don't disagree. Yeah.
So Arpita Khan Sharma, who tweeted this 4 hours ago, said, someone has hacked into Ayush's Twitter account and is posting extremely fabricated and malicious tweets. Our teams are getting to the bottom of this ASAP, and strong action will be taken against the miscreants. This is totally uncalled for and not at all something Ayush would do.
Yeah, like somebody find this hacker, because this hacker can like travel back in time to
because I saw the ones where he's like tweeting Salman, Shah Rukh and saying, sir, aapki jaisi body banani hai, that kind of thing from 2010. So I gotta say, it gives hope to all of these guys ke sir, didi ek chance de do, like, hey, you can make it apparently. You can get launched by Salman Khan.
You just need to marry his sister, that's all.
Yeah, and then pinch her cheeks in a very, very, very terrible and awkward video in front of people. I cringe so badly. Oh.
I can't believe like Arpita Sharma now? What does she call herself?
Khan
Sharma. Okay. Like that girl could have had like anybody, and like this is who she wanted. Like, why?
Yeah. So yeah.
But like you can really see the goodwill that the industry has for Salman, because like just random numbers of people like doing like Katrina did like that. There's apparently a Chogara Tara challenge.
Yeah, we also that video, did we?
Yeah, I saw 2,000 times myself already.
मैंने 2000 बार देखी है.
Like, but you have to see the difference between like Katrina doing it and all these other lamos doing it. Like Priyanka Chopra basically made like a shampoo commercial with like little children and her being like, like Lady Bountiful with like orphan children or something.
Yeah, what was that about? Like, she looked like Mary Poppins, man.
And then, like Mother Teresa, Priyanka Chopra, but like I think she already had that video, and then she just put the song on top of it, and she was like, "Chal ho gaya."
Yeah.
And then there was Karthik Aryan, who's like apparently besties with him. I don't know.
That seems totally logical to me. That they are best friends.
And then I don't know who else. Oh, and Ritesh
Deshmukh.
What's his face? Deshmukh, who I don't know why, but like every single time, like he just seems like he's always acting in like one of those sex comedies that he does. Like it doesn't matter what he's doing, what kind of video, what is the challenge, doesn't matter. It's like he's forever stuck in that one piece.
What did he say? What did he do? I don't I've not followed Ritesh Deshmukh and all.
He did this. You make it sound like I'm his number one fan.
I've literally not even heard that name in years. So I was like, what has Ritesh Deshmukh done now?
Ritesh Deshmukh's Instagram account has 2 followers. There's Janelia and Amrita.
Amrita is like borrowing chance like Janelia niklegi, hum line mein lagenge.
Busted. No, he's basically dancing, but he's doing this, this auto wala dance that he does. I can't even describe it, but basically.
Okay.
Anyway. But like people are basically going in on Ayush Sharma. So.
Yeah. But I still think the movie's going to do okay, probably. Whatever the low expectations they have. It's just on the power of the songs, because the soundtrack seems to be doing well now. And
but the guy that said that this movie should have been an album, he's not wrong. Like, I don't know why, like a lot of these nepotism kids, why do they have to have a movie? Because especially when they're doing movies like this, which is basically just, like ladka ladki, and then like Papa Nahi Manenge, and then like I assumed it's during the 9 days of Navaratri, so like they meet every day and they fall in love or whatever. I assume that's what's happening. But like, instead of doing that, let's do like, Sujoy, do you remember in the 90s, there was like Abbas and that girl who was in Mohabbatein. Yeah. Like they did that whole thing, like Rajshri did this whole like album, and they basically, and they basically did videos for it, and it actually launched both their careers, like Preeti Jangiani and Abbas's careers. And of course, like Abbas did fine down south, and then Preeti couldn't act, so she couldn't really do anything. But it did land her a role in Mohabbatein, like an Adi Chopra film. So it's not a bad idea that, like if you have limited talent, but you know how to dance and you know how to like lip sync, do an album, and then that sort of works as your show reel, and then try and get a movie out of that, with like an actual director and like an actual movie. I don't know.
Yeah. I think Salman, he just has a very still kind of like old school vision of cinema. Like, I don't think you can be a star if you don't have a movie. He's not like, all of the movies he's produced have been very, I don't know, it just feels he's very, or he doesn't understand that things are shifting, or he wants to remain the way they were, or he's just very hands-off and he's just like a stamp that they put on it, and he doesn't do anything at all except give him some workout tips or show up on his Instagram. But I don't know what's going on there, but I still think it's that old idea of like even my parents, like we do a podcast, we have like thousands of listeners. My parents don't care. But I come for 5 minutes on BBC Radio. It's like, oh my God, my son made it. Like it's just this idea about what is actual success and what isn't, which is, just kind of that old school way of thinking about things. Maybe that is a fact. So it seems like Coffee with Karan season 74 is coming out soon. And and they've kind of revealed a few of the casts that are going to be appearing on it. I think I'll just mention which ones I remember, and if I forget, let me know, guys, okay? Sujoy, how much are you in tune with all of this Coffee with Karan news, or it just goes above your head, you don't even focus on it?
I just saw one retweet by somebody from Bollywood Twitter. Right. Somebody retweeted Karan Johar's tweet about I think Arjun and Janvi on one episode. I just saw that one.
Yeah, so it's Arjun and Janvi, Ranveer Singh and Akshay. There's Alia and Deepika, and there's Saif Ali Khan and his daughter Sarah Ali Khan.
Yeah, I saw that as well.
So those are the ones. Am I forgetting any others that got announced?
Those are the ones that I saw.
Yeah. So a lot of people seem to be excited for the Arjun Janvi one. I kind of didn't understand it, and people then explained it to me, which was very nice of people, because I didn't understand why people were so excited. They were like, this is the episode we've been waiting for. I was like, shit, really? That was the episode we were waiting for? So yeah, people are excited. Amrita, are you excited? Are you looking forward to it?
I'm actually dreading the Arjun Janvi one
Right.
because it's like I'm already cringing at the idea of like what must be happening. I'm sure it's going to be compelling television because it's going to be a cringe fest. But of all the people that I would trust to sort of interrogate that relationship and the complexities of it, Karan Johar is like dead last. So it's going to be, I don't know if I think I'm going to let somebody, like other people watch it and then like see their reaction and then watch it because I don't think I have the cojones to like go in blind and watch it because, oh my God.
What about what about the other people that are kind of appearing?
So Deepika at this point is just trolling like, you know, like she's just trolling Ranveer and Ranveer ke fans. Like that's what she's doing right now because every time Ranveer starts dating somebody or is rumored to be dating somebody, she's just like, okay, I'm going to insert myself in this narrative somehow, and this is going to upset all the fans of my boyfriend, and it's going to make Ranveer like have to answer all kinds of uncomfortable questions. And I don't know why she does it, but I kind of respect it because it's very entertaining. So that, and then I don't understand why Akshay and Ranveer are coming together. I don't get that at all. Like, what is the connection? I don't get it. Then who else is there?
I think you need to use the word conjecture instead of connection. And we need to use it randomly at the wrong places. Yeah? So what's the conjecture between Akshay and Ranveer?
That and fraternity.
And then Sarah and Saif, I'm actually kind of looking forward to just because I have no idea like what Sarah is like as a person. And also I remember Saif coming on Coffee with Karan like second season or something, and after he and Amrita had divorced and like talking about like how he would play up his relationship with his children just so that he could get them good press because he felt so insecure. And I just want to see what came of that relationship, you know, like how like Papa Saif reacts. Like, I just want to see what that's like.
Yeah. Rani! I just wanted to say
I wasn't expecting that.
I will never forget. That impression has changed my life forever. And like, how I view Saif.
Like, it's changed my view of Saif as well. Like, ever since I saw that film.
Yeah. I honestly, for the last few seasons, I've not really been that interested in Coffee with Karan anymore. And I'm not really excited for the team-ups that have been announced. Nothing sounds interesting to me. It's funny because I don't think Akshay's appearance was good on last Coffee with Karan. I felt it was very kind of antagonistic and they didn't get along at all. So I don't know. I feel Karan doesn't. It doesn't work well because he's very intimidated when it's like very alpha male kind of figures like Akshay or Salman. He kind of freezes and it's not a pleasant viewing experience for me necessarily. I kind of miss those days of Abhishek and Preeti and those kind of seasons at the start, you know. These ones, I don't know. Maybe it's also that I'm not really interested in anything Alia Bhatt has to say or, you know, Sara Ali Khan has to say or even Jhanvi has to say. Yeah, I'm not that psyched. I'll end up watching it anyway. But, yeah, nothing of it really excites me, to be honest.
Do you remember Abhishek, down on one knee? I will do anything for you, Karan.
Yeah. It was a joke then, but it's quite serious now, isn't it, Abhishek?
I know.
I love Abhishek. He's great. We'll talk about it more when the seasons come out, and we'll probably not do an episode by episode breakdown, but we'll definitely be talking about it, because knowing Karan, he's gonna we will have no choice. He'll knock us down to the ground, put us in an arm lock, and make us watch and talk about Coffee with Karan. And I think he's sharp the way he leverages things. Like Sara Ali Khan is debuting in his production, right? With what's his face, Rohit Shetty.
Yeah.
So it's a smart way. It's a smart way to kind of vertical integration of one of those buzzwords. It's smart. It's good. So Sujoy, you saw Andhadun.
Yes, I did.
You're not going to spoil anything with us, so maybe you can talk about it for 3 minutes or something without spoiling it.
I mean, there's nothing to spoil exactly, because the trailer doesn't reveal anything. It poses a lot of questions. Who are these people? How are they connected? And what are their intentions? And that's what goes through your mind throughout this entire movie. It's not a whodunit or howdunit. It's just nuts. Because if you remember, so this movie is directed by Sriram Raghavan, as we all know. But most people outside Bollywood cinema, or people who don't watch Bollywood cinema, wouldn't know this guy who's made Ek Hasina Thi or Johnny Gaddar or Badlapur, which was excellent. He made Agent Vinod as well, which didn't do so well, deservingly so. But this is, I think, his career best. And for me, this is the year's best movie so far.
But you said that about Sweet Haga last week.
I know. It's very easy for me to give that title, but he deserves it. I don't see any movie topping this. Because I don't see anybody else making this kind of a movie.
Yeah, wait till you see Lavratri next week.
You dickhead.
It's Ayushmann is a star. It's the best movie of the year. No, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know what everything about this movie works for me. It's so economic in the scenes, the storytelling, the performances are amazing. Tabu is just perfect. She's amazing. She's amazing. I can't really elaborate much about the plot, and because it will spoil it, obviously. But just remember how you felt when you watched Johnny Gaddar for the first time, and how everybody has their own secrets and you can't trust anyone. It's just the same kind of dynamic, and the story plays on that sort of a roller coaster ride of deceit and deception and all of that. It's amazing.
Nice. Yeah, if I can fit in a screening somewhere, it seems to be all sold out. It's funnily on a Saturday afternoon in London, and there's no tickets available. So I was surprised that a Sriram Raghavan movie would be that popular. But even your screening was sold out, right, when you went?
Yeah. It was all sold out. Everybody was actually on it. People have been actively seeking out to go through the screenings and watch this movie, because the word of mouth is very, very positive on this one.
Amrita, are you excited?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to watching Tabu again on screen. She looked great in that in the trailer, and I think I told you guys then too that she was the one. When she appeared, I was like, okay, I have to watch this movie. And she's good, right? She's
amazing. She plays this kind of femme fatale kind of character, and oh my god. And there are nods to her other performances in other movies as well. There's a lot of Easter eggs that you will find delight in discovering for yourself.
Nice. Shall we move on to our main review?
Yay!
Hain Rahi Pyar ke.
Rahi Pyar ke.
Oh God, this movie was such a joy. I'm so happy we watched this. So Hain Rahi Pyar ke came out in 1993. It was produced by Amir Khan's father, Tahir Hussain, and it was directed by Mahesh Bhatt. I had totally forgotten Mahesh Bhatt had directed this movie, and I remember there were a lot of rumors that he didn't direct it or he didn't show up, and actually Amir directed it, and it was all kind of flooding back to me when I was watching the movie. And it is an unofficial remake of a Hollywood movie called Houseboat, which I've never really seen. And this was also kind of the debut or the first movie of Kunal Khemu, where he had kind of like a little moment as a star kid. He was making like some really good movies, Zakham being one of them too. It was a huge hit, especially from the soundtrack, which was done by Nadeem Shravan. Amrita, how did you feel revisiting Hain Rahi Pyar Ke?
I mean, this was a movie that I really needed this week. Like, it's been one terrible thing after another for a very long time, it seems. Like, it feels like this week was basically a year long. And then I sat down to watch this movie, and I was looking forward to it when we agreed to watch it, but then, like, all this shit happened, and I was just, like, in a really bad mood, and I didn't really want to watch a movie. Yeah. And then I sat down to watch it, and it started, and I immediately felt so much better. Like, this movie, it's a delight from the get-go. Like, it doesn't waste any time setting up the story. Like, it just completely dives into the story immediately. Like, it tells you who Amit is, who these kids are, who Juhi is, and then gets them all together in one place and takes the story forward. So it's immediate, and I was laughing. I wasn't crying, but I felt really bad in like all the sad places. And it was just, I reconnected with this movie the same as I had back in the 90s. Like, I haven't seen this movie since it came out. Yeah. And then I'm watching it now, like 20 some years later, and I feel exactly the same way about it. And the music holds up, and it was just great. Like, thanks for choosing this, Asim. Like, I really, really loved watching this movie.
I same with you, and I think we all needed it, and I felt even like people listening to it, watch the movie. Like, honestly, like, it's on YouTube and a terrible print. I couldn't find it anywhere else streaming, and it doesn't have subtitles. So if you need subtitles, maybe seek it out. I would strongly recommend it. You need it. Honestly, you don't even know how much you need to watch this movie. Like, you need it in your life at this moment. And like, we usually don't do it this way, but can we just talk about the soundtrack for a moment, first of all? Like, I had forgotten how good this soundtrack... Like, I had forgotten that there used to be a time where all songs in a soundtrack were good. Like, kids, last episode I explained to you the concept of cassettes. This week, I explained to you the concept that there used to be albums of movies that didn't just have one good song and 3 remixes on it with Honey Singh on it, you know? This is like amazing songs, and songs I had even forgotten were in this movie, and I was like, man, I still sing this song, and I don't know which movie it's coming from, who was starring in it, but these melodies, the lyrics of the songs, because they're not, I think I was saying this to Sujoy earlier, the melodies aren't simple melodies, they're quite complex, I feel, and then adding this layer of pretty beautiful lyrics on it, it's just amazing. Like I was trying to pick which is my favorite song, and I couldn't even find it. Like, did you guys have a favorite song that you were like, oh man, this is the one that stood out for me? Sujoy, which one was yours?
I think Ghungat Ki Aar Se is played like it was the most played everywhere. Right?
Yeah.
Going to a New Year's party, it was playing all night long. You know, so it kind of got overplayed, but it's still my favorite. But even after that, what's the other one? Yuhi Kat Jayega Safar is so good, so good.
I've been singing the song the whole day, like this song specifically. It is such a good song. It's insane.
It just makes me so happy to hear these voices of like Kumar Sanu, Alka Yagnik, and you know those just simple plain Hindi lyrics by Sameer. It's like a warm hug.
The whole soundtrack was sung with Kumar Sanu and Alka Yagnik pretty much. There's one song by Sadhna Sargam. But the rest is just these two guys, and it really brings you back to that era, right, where they were like just dominating music at that time.
Something I want to point out about playback singers and all this, about coming back to Andhadun just for a tiny bit. They did something really weird in Andhadun. That is, Ayushmann Khurrana playbacks with 3 singers. Like, he's singing with Ayushmann's voice, then Arijit's voice, then somebody else's voice in 3 songs. And he's a musician in this movie. I don't know why they chose to do that. It kind of takes away from that,
Yeah. Amrita, what's your favorite song? Sorry, we got cut off for a moment.
So like Sujoy said, like Ghungat Ki Aad Se was like, everybody sang that song.
Yeah.
And then the title song, like Yun Hi Kat Jayega Safar, like it's like once you have it in your head, like you just can't get rid of it. Like you're just singing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
But the song that's like lovely is like Wo Mera Chain, Wo Mera Neend.
Oh, so good. Yeah. It's
I was watching the film, and like the beginning notes of that like the tune starts.
Yeah.
Like it slowly starts from the background, and I was like, oh my God, it's that song.
Yeah, that was the song I didn't even remember that was in this movie. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And for me also, I have to point out Kaash Koi Ladki. It's like the most unsubtle as song ever, because you have 3 kids around and the lyrics get quite heated at a few moments, and Amir is singing into the face of the child. Like, it's insane. Like, I wrote down one lyric. So this is in front of the kids, right? Wo bechain hoti, main betab hota. He's singing this to a 6-year-old in his face. And the kids are quite happy with it. They're all singing and dancing. But yeah, it's a really nice song. It's really, but it straddles that thing where it's poetic. It's what's underneath it gets hidden with this veneer of poetry around it. So we're all kind of okay. But
also I'd forgotten that like Amir gets like sexually harassed on his
Yeah, Amir is a sex symbol in this movie, right?
except oh my God, that that scene. Okay, I'm like moving away from the music for a second, but that scene where Juhi's hiding under his bed and he's like stripping down and he takes his shirt off and everything, and then he takes off his shoes and he has hobbit feet. And I'm just like, why?
So I was watching this movie, and Amir. So kind of just to give a synopsis of what's going on. Amir's brother and sister have died in a car accident. They had 3 kids and a garment factory, and Amir has been brought in to take care of the kids, become their legal guardian, and also take over the business. He seems to have no connection necessarily with these kids, and he's basically their maternal uncle, Mamu. I didn't mean, I just said that without even... this was no setup for a joke, but clearly it is. So he's their Mamu. And and then haphazardly, Juhi Chawla kind of comes in and becomes a governess, and they fall in love. That's kind of the synopsis of the movie. But the way the movie is set up, Juhi Chawla is kind of the comedic element, where Amir is playing kind of the straight guy. And he's kind of like very abrasive, very boring. And I was watching the movie and I thought, this is probably what Amrita thinks Amir is in real life, but only shorter. So that's why when you were thinking of the Hobbit feet, I was thinking of you, Amrita.
Yeah.
So I have a question to ask Amrita. How good is Juhi's Tamil in this movie?
it's not it's not as bad as like Shah Rukh's
Bengali in Devdas.
yeah. Like, it's not that bad, but it's like, so here's the thing about Juhi in this film, right? Juhi is perfection. Like,
so good.
there is not a single thing about her in this movie that I would change or criticize or even hear criticized. Like, if somebody came up to me and said like, oh, but Juhi in that film, I would slap them across the face. Like, that is how much I love her in this film. And it also like explained to me, like I had like a moment of realization as I was watching this film. So the reason why I can't really get the Preeti Zinta fever that happened in the 90s is because the original bubbly girl for me is Juhi. And Juhi is a fantastic actress on top of like being like bubbly and cute and all those things. Like the physical comedy that she does in this film with this extended sequence of her like Amir doesn't know that she's in the house, so she's creeping out the house. And I was laughing till I had like tears coming out of my eyes, like her just creeping out of the
Especially how she hits him with that cricket bat. That was the funniest thing ever.
No, my favorite scene is when she's hiding in the cupboard and she hands him the key.
like when she creeps into the kitchen and then she needs to close the door of the kitchen and then she like kicks the door shut. It's like so perfect.
And I don't know, I sent you guys some videos, some older videos of interviews of Hum Rahi Pyar Ke when it came out, some news articles. I'll add them to the thread when I post it or when we post the episode. But it was funny because Juhi had a great debut, but Amir ran away with most of the plaudits and the kind of critical, and her career wasn't going great until that time. And then she had Bol Radha Bol and Hum Rahi Pyar Ke one after the other, and she actually won, I think, Best Actress or something like that at Filmfare that year. So she really came into her own in this movie in a career wise, and she is amazing. Like even that song Bombay Se Gayi Pune. In any other movie, it would be a preposterous premise, you know. They kind of had this. She basically scams a carny to win a mouth harmonica. I think that's what she does with the kids. And then they ran into like this singing competition, and they just start singing. And just the dancing she does with the kids, and any other song, any other setup with these kind of kids would not work. But Juhi just sells it, man. She is amazing in this. And like also I feel the story was also remade in that movie Thoda Pyaar Thoda Magic with Rani Mukherjee, but they mixed in some Mary Poppins into it. Have you ever seen
that movie?
You never saw it? Okay, I just recently watched it because I was looking for some Bollywood content that I could watch with my daughter. And I thought that might be a good one. She seems to like Mr. India a lot more than she does Thoda Pyaar, Thoda Magic. But just watching it, I was like,
that's because your daughter has better taste. That movie sucks.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. Yeah.
I thought Rani as a fairy, she likes fairies. Maybe she'll like it. So, she didn't. But it also like... just the directorial choices or the story choices that they made are just so smart, because in Thoda Pyaar Thoda Magic it's apparently Saif has a car accident and he kills the parents, and then he has to take care of the kids as a court judgment, which is insane. Where here it's a very simple present. They never really get into the parents. They didn't show them or anything like that. And he's just the mama. So it's normal that, a mama would be taking care of the kids in that kind of situation. And the kids are... I just felt it was really believable that these kids just have this anger in them. And they're, they just lash out at anything that they can because, they're orphans now. And a lot of times Amir needs to kind of bear the brunt, but Amir character has no skills with kids whatsoever. He's taking them to these classical concerts. He wants to take them to the museum. When he promises something that he wants to he's going to take them to the carnival. He cannot make it. But in that situation, you understand both sides. You understand the kids and their frustration and anger, but you also understand Amir's position that he's really trying to cope with the situation and do the best he can. And I really like the way also the relationship between Juhi and Amir kind of evolves, where she really becomes his confidant, and he even thanks her at a certain point that, I wouldn't be able to manage this without you. Which I thought was a really nice and sweet kind of...
But Juhi's character in this movie is not your traditional, sanskari, Bharatiya Nari, Abla Nari kind of role. Like, she stands up for herself. And, when she gets slapped by her dad, she doesn't, it's not like a full drama, my father slapped me. Aisa kaise ho sakta hai? It doesn't like that. She gets slapped. And she immediately looks at the guy that her dad wants her to marry and is like, I don't care, I'll die, but I won't marry you. And then she just flounces off. And then when she gets, locked into her room, she runs off. And then, she gets her heart broken and she's, humiliated and everything by Amir.
Oh my God, I cried at that scene.
Yeah. And then she, dresses up as his abandoned wife and goes and does full drama. You have to love her, man. She's, amazing. Her character, she's amazing and her character is amazing.
When she goes with the kids dressed as Amir's wife at the engagement party and does all that melodrama about drinking the poison. Oh my God.
I did not expect that scene at all, because the usual logic of these films is he needs to come to some sort of realization on his own, he misses her or something, or the vamp does something bad and then he remembers. But no, she literally says fuck that shit, I'm gonna go get my man. And she gets her kids and dresses up in that sari and Swami. It is amazing. There's so many scenes in this movie, man. I love it.
Yeah. And it's funny because Amir was not really happy with his performance in this movie. And I don't know if it's because Juhi ran away with most of the plaudits, or that he just he said in an interview with Filmfare, a really little expert, a performance has to be as felt as it is studied. I feel I got this balance in Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi and Jo Jeeta Wohi Sikandar. I didn't get it in Hum Hai Rahi Pyar Ke. Perhaps it wasn't required because I had to look worried throughout. Even after the film was released, I didn't know what the character was all about. I looked so harassed. And Mahesh Bhatt told me, yeah, that's it. You were supposed to be that way. So without knowing it, I had contributed to the performance. I love that last line. That's so Amir. Without knowing it, I was awesome.
So you want to notice, Dil Hai Ki Manta Nahi, Pooja Bhatt improved as an actress as her career went on, and she has a lot of raw talent, right? But in Dil Hai Ki Manta Nahi, she basically plays a one-note character. It's a very, I remember it being a one-note character. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But she basically plays this sulky sort of brat throughout the whole thing. And then in Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar, the whole film is about Amir. He's front and center, right?
Yeah.
But in this film, he's got those kids and he's got Juhi and he's got so many other things taking away the attention from him. So this is it's a perfectly good movie, and then he had to go give that interview about him, which this is what I mean. Amir in a movie, amazing. Amir out of a movie, why won't he shut up?
Yeah. And I think it's also it was kind of a year where it was kind of a rough year. They had there were riots and bomb blasts that year. And like Aankhe was the big success. Damini, Rudali were like other big successes, and also Bazigar and Dar had kind of just like shaken up everything, like Shah Rukh's arrival, because at that time still people were kind of thinking it was Salman and Amir leading the charge against weirdly Anil Kapoor, who was kind of the leader at that time, the number one, and Shah Rukh just kind of came and he just like changed the equation of everything. So I feel even Amir, he didn't know where he was at. Although I think Amir was already quite successful when he took this movie. And this is also the period where Amir, perfectionist, Amir, the meddler, Amir, the ghost director, all of these kind of rumors started to pop up, I think. This is where I definitely remember them from. What about you guys?
So I saw that video of Lehre, I think, where they were making claims about Amir being ghost directing this movie and making changes to suit his sort of style of cinema or whatever. I don't know if it's evident in any way. It's still a very Bollywood movie, and I don't know whose sensibilities it plays to, whether it's Amir or Mahesh, but yeah.
Mm. Yeah. But I don't. I think like I've been reading a few Mahesh Bhatt interviews about this about Hain Rahi Pyar and Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi, and it doesn't seem Mahesh Bhatt and Amir Khan got along really well. And Amir was also kind of, his dad was producing the movie, so he was very kind of responsible, and I assume he did a lot of, like, even I think I saw a Kunal Khemo interview where he said that all the patchwork was done with Amir, and Mahesh Bhatt wasn't even there. And yeah,
there is a bit of film trivia that I have. There is a deleted scene from Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi where Amir and Pooja Bhatt are dancing in a garage or something. It's now deleted. I think it's available on YouTube, but the song dancing to is the original Devanand song Hain Rahi Pyar Ke, sung by Kishore Kumar. And that became the title for the next movie with Mahesh Bhatt directing Amir Khan.
So, Amrita, you mentioned that person that Juhi was supposed to marry. I think he's called Natarajan. That was a very confusing character for me. What was that supposed to be? What was going on there?
Well, that was just your old-fashioned Bollywood homophobia, basically.
Because, sorry, go ahead.
No, because it's, he's... Like, it starts off with him being effeminate, and then Juhi basically making fun of the fact that he's effeminate, and then it goes on to the end scene, which is like where he joins the kids and everybody else and trying to convince her dad to let her to marry Amir, and then at that point suddenly he starts making eyes at Amir and like talking about like how Amir is pretty, when he'd been letting at Juhi until that moment. So I'm just like, at least be consistent in your homophobia. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I found it very, very confusing because he had clearly like how do I say this, effeminate kind of tendencies because he's playing this classical dancer, but then he's also like really like actively pursuing Juhi to the levels of creepiness. But it's also very clear that there are a lot of gay stereotypes there. So I just found it all very confusing what kind of character this is supposed to be.
I think the same guy appears in a lot of Amir movies. Like he was in Raja Hindustani as well, right? Along with Navneet Nishan. Who
is that the same guy? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Navneet Nishan is also in Raja Hindustani, who plays Maya in this movie, the daughter of Dalip Tahil.
You mean Tara?
Yeah, Tara. TV, yeah.
Yeah, she was playing the Amisha Patel role, basically. She was lazy lamhe.
Not unless she gets a boob job.
I thought she actually looked like a believable daughter of Dalip Tahil. I don't know, I thought it was kind of like good casting.
I have another question regarding this movie. So this movie got the national award special jury, special mention feature film award or something like that, right? Was that because this movie sort of brings together the nation as a whole? Because there's like the North Indians and Juhi Chawla, Punjabi girl playing a South Indian woman, and then there is the Bharatanatyam dancers, then there's a Sindhi guy played by Dalip Patel. It's got everything.
Yeah. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of like national award categories, as just like other categories where you're just like, I don't think that's a real thing. And they needed to like acknowledge a film in some way. So they're like, here, this is like for national integration. And you're like, it's a film. How did it do that?
Yeah.
And,
I think one of those years, Ghayal got that award as well. I'm not kidding. Like, Ghayal got the National Film Award for National Integration.
Oh my God.
Balwant Rai ke kutto.
Did you guys notice that they did all of Home Alone within 10 seconds of the introduction of the kids?
Yeah.
Like the whole story of Home Alone is in this movie for 10 seconds. They do all the same pranks. And then there was this character, this is that thing where this movie is so effective. So you have this kind of comedic Mishra ji, right? And he's like very proud that he's worked in Japan. So he's like, his line is Japan mein aisa hota hai, right? And so there's this scene there's this ongoing thread where Amir comes into the factory of his brother-in-law to try to take over, and he gets immediately sexually harassed by all of the female staff there, to the point where he actually, I think he gets raped. I think that's what happened. I'm not 100% sure.
There's a lot of like late 80s, early 90s funny things happening in this movie, which you are like, well, that's not really funny, but okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's lots of lipstick marks everywhere.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that. Yeah.
And funny enough, this song Chikni Surat Tu Kahan Hai, which sings, I never, like, this was not in the video cassette that I had watched. This song apparently wasn't initially released, and it got added later on, apparently. I read this somewhere in trivia, so I'm not sure. Did you guys know this song?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think
Okay.
So. Yeah.
So, in any case, so there's this kind of dynamic between the workers and him, but at the end is like, he needs these women to kind of come on board and help finish up this order that there is kind of the premise of the climactic end to the movie. And he gives this really impassionate speech about them helping him and him helping him. And he's like cries because they agree. And he just says, Mishra ji, hota hai sa Japan mein. And it got to me, man. That line really got to me. And I was just like, wow, this is why this movie is so effective, where there's so much comedy, but when the melodrama hits you at certain points, it does actually work. And
So somebody tweeted this just last week, right? And made the connection between Hum Hai Rahi Pyar Ke and Sui Dhaga, which is beautiful because in that scene, and after that melodrama speech, they are all working hard, 20-hour shifts and all that. And the second reprise of, Yuhi Kat Jayega Safar plays. So Pawan Jha, who is on Twitter, he tweeted that this is probably Amir Khan in Sui Dhaga singing his version of Khatar Patar Zindagi 25 years ago.
Yeah, it was funny just having seen Sui Dhaga, how kind of similar the kind of setup was for those kind of factories, right?
Yeah.
Because this is probably the factory that got fired and all of these people started working then. Like, the people working in this factory, their kids were Varun Dhawan, basically.
Wow.
It's all one universe, man. Bollywood is all one universe. Did anybody note down the martial arts school that Amir went to?
Oh, shit. I remember. Judo, something, third level black belt or something like that.
So it's Mishra ji. Ching Ming Chow School of Judo and Karate.
Oh my God.
Okay.
But it's like this movie, right? It has no villains necessarily. Like, there's no conflict really. There's Dilip Tahil, but they're almost like there's no challenges, there's no real main villain, there's no real story plot, anything like that. It's just like a very kind of happy-go-lucky movie. But there is a fight scene at the end, which I really liked. I liked the reveal of, so these kids are really worried. I like how the setup is. So Amir, these 4 gundas have taken the consignment that was supposed to the order that was supposed to be ready, and they kind of confront these gundas. So it's Amir, Juhi, the 3 kids, and I think Tiku Talsania, their lawyer, I think he's there too, and so it becomes kind of physical to a certain point, and everybody's like saying, Amir, back the hell out, they're gonna hurt you. And then there's the reveal that Amir is actually a really good fighter and he beats everybody up, and it really impresses Juhi Chawla and the kids. I thought that was really sweet. I like that. Obviously it continues our delusion that we Asian men can pick a fight with anybody and kick their asses, which is not good, but I kind of like that moment where the kids thought that Amir was cool, because they hadn't really had that yet. They thought Juhi was cool and they liked her, and they started liking Amir because Juhi explained to them how they need to talk to each other. But they actually thought he was cool now, and I thought that was it worked for me. I like that.
I think it plays like a reverse love story where the kids come first, and then the love story blooms between these 2 characters as they try to become their pseudo parents.
Yeah,
it's kind of beautiful.
Yeah. Because there's no. I mean, it becomes. There's no. They have no intent to get together necessarily at the start, at least, right? It's not like there's a lot of they watch each other and there's Dil Mein Baje guitar, actual guitars playing when they're looking at each other. But it's kind of like a slow reveal. I really liked it. Yeah, I really really like this movie, man. I really did. I really, really did.
I tweeted this, as well. So when Ghungat Ki Aar Se is playing, right? And in one of the verses where Amir is making Juhi wear those bangles, it just struck in my head. मैं बेटियों को चूड़ी पहनाऊंगा, आप को चूड़ी.
I had the whole time I was thinking of Andaz Apna Apna, because Amir also has that haircut. He has the coupe français di hair. So it even the way he's delivering his lines is very sofa pe chadti hai, badtameez ladki, that kind of thing. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. Amrita, anything else or final words on Hame Rahi Pyar Ke?
I mean, I think everybody should watch this film.
And I think I'm even going to download the soundtrack and just be listening to it.
Yeah, me too. But why the hell is Venus or whoever owns the rights for this movie haven't put up the best print? I think it was available on Netflix for a while, and then
I think it was. I remember it was, and my initial thought was to go to Netflix, and
I searched it on Prime. I searched it on Netflix as well. It isn't there, so I had to watch the shitty print on YouTube, which was really, really annoying.
Yeah, same for me. And again, I think if it has a good print, it's a movie that anybody could watch. You can watch it with kids, with the family, and everybody will still have a really enjoyable time. I think we wanted to get this one out because we're all kind of traveling and our schedule will be a mess. But we'll be back to our regular scheduling, and we have some great guests lined up for the next few movies. And I think that's it for this episode, at least, right? One more thing I wanted to mention. We still have a few Sweet Dhaga Made in India goodie bags that we're still giving away. So go to our social media page, Facebook, Twitter. You'll find the links where you need to sign up, and then we'll pick a winner and send off a goodie bag to you. It's really cool. It has a t-shirt and a tote bag and all these kind of things. Amrita, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter at AmritaIQ.
Sujoy?
I'm on Twitter at 9E3K.
Great. I'm Asim Barney. You can follow us at upodcasting.com. Follow us on Facebook, on Twitter. Thanks for listening, guys.